Like I'm really hoping to still make the girls' game better. I just sent out the evaluation thing, Tom, that you did to the U15 coaches
Yeah.
that you received of the camp, and you saw where your players scored at the Alberta Challenge. And thank you for submitting your skill, hockey sense, and intangible ratings for your last year's team. Uh, I'm asking, and I talked to Sean this morning, and I'll speak to Roberta later about her submitting similar scores for me. Um, the the reason is, you know, it's just not a waste of time. It's when you start thinking about those numbers and arguing about them with your staff, you're getting a different perspective. You're becoming more aware of a complete player and what goes into what you have to do to get them to another level. So, Jim's scores were pretty much the same as yours, Tom, eh?
Well, the total was the same a lot. Maybe I dropped a half a point on some things and raised a half a point on other things.
Yeah,
But they were pretty similar because I mean we had them for like probably 100 times
yeah.
between games and practices and tournaments, and so
Well, Tom, when we did that with the national team, we didn't have them all year. We
yeah.
had a 1 week camp, and the scouts, they had to do the rating not on just those three traits, but we had eight. And one of the things that concerns me, Tom, is hockey sense. I would put in a second column, offensive hockey sense and defensive hockey sense. So that's something with that form. Is that meaningful at U15 or would it be a distraction? And will it help coaches understand you got to play without the puck and you got to play with it?
Well, I think that the intangibles. I mean, if you got someone that just plays offense, you're going to get a bad score on the intangibles. If someone just coasts and you think of Pavel Brendel. I remember having a discussion with Mike Barnett. He came to meet Danny, and we all went out for a beer. And Brendel was the big star for the Hitmen then, and Danny was playing for the Canucks. And Mike says to me, "But he's scoring all this, but he's only playing Junior A." And I said, "Well, Mike, he is such a better hockey player than Brendel is.
Yeah,
Because he plays the whole game.
yeah,
Brendel waits at the blue line for a puck,
yeah.
and so
Well, what I'm saying, Tom, is if you have to write down a number for offensive hockey sense and defensive hockey sense, then you have to know, gee, they're not back checking. Oh, they're leaving the zone early. They're not responsible. Now I know it shows up in intangibles, but
oh
they're
yeah, well you could add it. I'm just saying.
yeah. Well, I don't know whether they're even ready to do three scores because all we've ever done is one, and everybody drafts without any knowledge from the other coaches. So
Yeah,
I'm
well, I asked for stuff this year, and I think I got Roberta's, but I didn't get Sean's. I think.
well. I talked to Sean this morning, and I just sent it out in the email. You received the same thing Sean did, and I think I thanked you again for submitting your numbers. But um, and when you at the national level, when you break it down into eight phases, eight traits, you're looking at everything in a more analytical way as a coach. So you're looking, how do I teach maintaining D side? How do I teach angling or surfing? How do I teach stick use without the puck when to check people?
Well, you know what we should be doing, Wally, and George Kingston did this. and it was kind of like an outline for phys ed. What we got is all of the skills should be listed. And George, what he did, he had this. I think I might even have a. I don't know. It was
I
a
have a
1,000 years
copy of
ago.
it. I have a
Yeah,
copy of it right beside me
and
now.
every time he worked on that skill, he put a check mark.
Yeah,
So then he could look and say, okay, I haven't worked on this, because everything needs to be worked on no matter what. Like, I see the NHL guys working on these things.
yeah,
Every coach, like Bob Hartley, every single practice he worked on angling and stick on puck. He was really big on that.
yeah,
And every coach has kind of the things they always work on.
yeah.
But that would help the coaches to say, this is the. And I think Emily told me that Tessa's mom sends out a thing about what they need to work on each week or something.
Mm.
So I imagine she has kind of a ordered thing like this.
Well, it's just a matter of whatever we give coaches, what are they going to use? Um, this evaluation mechanism of 3 traits is to get a better look at what the player needs to do better in terms of evaluating them. But the bottom line is you're the coach. You have to make them better in the area they're not as good as they could be in. So this is for coaches. It's not for player selection, although it will help because you'll know what you're selecting, and coaches can know what the strengths are of each player and the weaknesses by their scores in 3 areas. And it's not like hearsay or this person said.
Oh
It's
no, well, the more information you got, the better for sure.